report this. So what does this mean? What does this mean as far as words? What does that mean in words? What is this? What does that mean? Yes? Fred? What does it mean?
It could be 6 or negative 6.
Yeah, but what does it mean about the distance from 0?
Oh, it's 6 away from 0.
The distance from 0 is 6, right? So this means the distance from 0 is 6. What if I had something like this? What does that mean? So if I had an equation like this, what would be the answer? What would the answer be to that? If I see something like this, which you may, what would you say? Is there an answer to that? No. This, whenever you take absolute value of something, it always has to be a positive number. So if you see something like this, you say no solution, okay? Or you say this, empty set, or you say this, okay? But there is no, if you're trying to solve an absolute value equation for a negative number, it does not work, okay? So now we're going to go, aha! Julia is here now. So solve it, we did that. We're going to move on. Moving on. Suppose a man is standing on a straight road marker at mile marker 26. He walks 2 miles. What mile marker is he at now? Or 24, right? So he could be at either side. Does anyone know how I can set this up as an absolute value equation? How do I find the distance between two things? If I want to know the distance from me to Trey, other than a tape measure, say I know that I'm standing at 10 feet and Trey is standing at a marker at 15 feet. How would I find the distance between us? Subtract, okay? So what I could do is set up, notes, not yet, okay? What I could do is set up an equation, sorry, we're getting there. I don't want those notes, I want this, okay? What I could do is set up an equation that looks like this. X minus 26 is equal to what? 2, right? Because the distance from 26 is always going to be 2. You get it? Okay? Now to solve an absolute value equation. Anyone know how to solve an absolute value equation? To account for one being to the left and one being to the right, what you do is you make two equations and you say x minus 26 is equal to 2. You just rewrite it plain old simple, okay? You rewrite, and then you rewrite it with the opposite, x minus 26, or x minus 26 equals negative 2, okay? Or. So what do I get when I solve this equation? What do I get when I solve this equation? Joey, what do I get? X minus 26 equals 2. What's x equal to? How do I solve that? How do I solve that? Come on. Not subtract. What do I do, Maddie? Add 26. Okay. Add 26. Do you remember that, sir? Okay. X equals what? 28, not 38. How do I solve this? Add 26 again. Add 26. Add 26. Right? So I get x equals what in this case? 24. Do both of those make this true? This, right? Suppose a man standing on a straight mile marker at 26. He walks 2 miles. He could either be at mile marker 28, right? If he walks one direction, or he could be at mile marker 24 if he walks in the other direction. Questions about that? You get it? Problems? I know you guys are going through withdrawals from not having your cell phones next to you. Julia, you have to put your cell phone in the cell phone locker. Everyone does. Speaking of withdrawals from not being on cell phones. All right. So we did that. We did it. What if I wrote this? What if I wrote something that looked like this? X minus 58 equals 3. What's a story? Give me a story that goes with that. Give me a story that could go with that equation. Give me a story that could go with that equation.
Alright, we had some pineapples, you lost 58 of them, found out we had 3.
Usually we're talking about distance with these. Just think about the last problem, okay? Julia, are you raising your hand?
No, but I can do it.
Okay, go ahead. Not solve the problem. Give me a story that goes with that problem.
Okay.
Shh.
Haley was at mile marker.
Oh, Haley. Who's that? Never heard of her. Okay. Haley was at mile marker 58.
And she ran 3 more miles.
And she ran 3 more miles. Perfect. Okay, right? Haley was at mile marker 58. She ran 3 more miles. What mile marker was she at, right? She could have either been where? 61 or 55. And if you solve that like I did in the last case, you would get the answer. What if I did this? What if I wrote blob equals 10. Okay? What does that mean? Blob equals 10. Give me what could blob be?
10. Negative 10 or 10.
Yeah, but it also represents the what? Distance from 0, distance from a marker, distance from something. What if I had this? 2x plus 1 plus, let's do some, plus 4 equals 10. What if I wrote 2x plus 4 equals 10? How could I solve this equation?
Minus 4. X equals 3.
Give me, how would I solve this?
4.
Is minus 4?
3 or
Go ahead, Fred, what do you say?
3 or negative 3.
X equals, Kate, turn around. X equals 3 or negative 3? No.
Minus 4.
What's got 2x plus 4? So if blob equals 10, that means that blob could be what 2 things? Blob could be what or what? Blob could be negative 10, or blob could be what? Positive 10. So you do the exact same thing when you're solving an equation. So what people always want to do, what you guys did, you subtracted 4 and then you divide it by 2, right? And then you worry about the absolute value later. That's not how you do it. First, you split this up into 2 equations. Either 2x plus 4 equals 10, or 2x plus 4 equals what? Negative 10. And then you solve those 2 equations. This you'd subtract 4, you'd get 2x equals 6, x equals 3. And here you would do the same thing. Minus 4, subtract that, you get 2x equals negative 14, x equals negative 7. This answer I know is right? 2 times 3 is 6 plus 4. Take this answer and see if it makes it true. What's 2 times negative 7? What's 2 times negative 7?
Negative 14.
Negative 14. Plus 4?
Negative 10.
Negative 10. What's the absolute value of negative 10? 10. So do both of these numbers make that equation true? Yes. Okay. So so that's kind of how you solve absolute value equations. So now you are. Is it time to? Yeah, it's time to grab some whiteboards. Okay. So we're going to pause here for station identification. This is the best chance set, and record. So here's the first one. So you solve this. Absolute value of x equals 4. Go ahead. That should be pretty easy. So solve for x. Solve for x. You get, and one person can do the writing, the other person could kind of check their work, and then next time switch roles. Okay? Got it? That's right. That's right. So, yes. You got it there, Anna. You have 2 answers. 2 answers. That's right, Katie. That's right.
Yes.
Yes, you got. Yeah, if you want to do your own whiteboards, that's fine. Okay, everyone's got it. X equals 4, negative 4. Okay, good enough. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Let's try this one. I did one really similar to this, but let's try this one. 2x minus 1 equals 5. Okay, so if you're working with a partner, have the other person write, and you can kind of talk them through it, okay, and see what you get. Alright, I gotta pause, because give you some time to think. Don't hold it up right away, give it a few minutes. You have to make 2 equations, and then you solve those 2 equations. So you don't do anything in here first. First, you set it equal to plus or minus 5, and then you solve those 2. And when I solve those 2, I get plus 1, right? Plus 1. So I get, whoops, not very straight. 2x equals 6, 2x equals negative 4, right? And so here you get x equals 3, or x equals negative 2. You understand? Yes? Those of you who didn't get it right? Good. All right. So here's kind of a tricky one. Try this one. Okay. 5x. Oh, you can't see that very well, can you? 5x absolute value equals negative 6. I'm going to do an example, not. So the answer is no solution for those people at the in the viewing audience at home. Okay? Yeah, they are.
How many views do you get?
Thousands. Okay, so let's look at the next type of problem, and then you're going to try one on your own. So this is an example for you guys. 3 times x plus 2. 3 times x plus 2 absolute value minus 1 equals 8. Okay? So if I were solving this, the first thing, so in this case, it's a little bit different. You don't just set it immediately equal to negative or positive 8. First, you get the absolute value thing by itself. Okay? So you want to try to isolate the absolute value stuff. So how do I do that?
Minus 2, minus 2.
No, I want to get this thing.
Minus 2. Add 1.
First, I add 1 to both sides. So this is an example, okay? So I get 3 times the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 9, right? Now what do I do?
Distribute.
No, you can't distribute through it yet. You not subtract 3. This is attached by multiplication.
Divide by.
Divide both sides by 3. Okay, so divide by 3, divide by 3. Now you have your absolute value thing all by itself. Okay? Now what do I do? Hold on. There's 2 answers. Wait. Now what do I do?
Subtract 2.
No, now what do I do? That's right. And now I make my 2 separate equations. So at this point, I say either x plus 2 equals 3, or what? X plus 2 equals negative 3. And then I solve those 2 equations, so I get x equals 1 or x equals negative 5. Okay? So now you're going to try one like this on your own. You ready? Okay? So very similar problem. Here we go. Am I still recording? That's good. Where it should be. 2 times x plus 3 absolute value plus 1 equals 5. 5 works. Okay. So for the viewers at home, we got x equals -1 or x equals -5, and I'll let you try that. So there's one more type of problem that I'm going to have you try to solve. Okay, and it's a little tricky. You just kind of have to know how to do it. Okay, and so if you see one like this, it has absolute values on both sides. Please pay attention. 4x minus 3. This is an example. Okay, then I'm going to give you a chance to do one. Okay, x plus 3x plus, whoops, that should be a 5 there. Okay, if I see one like this, okay, what I do, I say, I make this, I just take away, so in the first place, I take away both brackets and I just rewrite it without the bracket. So that's the first case, 3x plus 5. The other case is or 4x minus 3 is going to be equal to the negative of what's inside the box. But you have to be careful because what's inside the box you have to distribute through that negative sign. See what I'm saying? So it's either 4x minus 3 is equal to this, which is easy to solve. Let's just solve this one. What do I do to both sides? Okay, let's first add 3. Add 3. So I get 4x goes away equals 3x plus 8. Then what? Minus 3x from both sides. Minus 3x. So I get x equals 8. Or, okay, other side of the equation, first I have to distribute through that negative sign. Don't forget. So what do I get over here when I distribute through? What do I get? Negative 3x minus 5. Okay? Now I combine like terms. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Plus 3. Plus 3. And I get 4x, that goes away, equals negative 3x minus 2. Now what? Plus 3x to both sides, plus 3x, plus 3x. I get 7x equals negative 2. Now you gotta divide, right? And so in a lot of these cases you'll get an answer that doesn't look very pretty. Okay? 7 divided by 7, you get x equals negative 2/7. Okay? So both of those are answers that make that true. I just want to show you that I think we did it right. Let's try. Okay? If I plug this in, 4 times negative 2/7 minus 3, and 3 times negative 2/7 plus 5. That makes negative 8/7. Negative 8/7 minus 21/7. That gives you negative 28/7, which when I take the absolute value of that is positive 4. This gives you negative 6/7. Plus how many sevenths is that? Negative 6 over 7 plus 35/7. 35 and negative 6 is 29/7. Uh-oh.
What?
Negative 6/7 and 35/7. I must have done something wrong. Negative 8. Oh, that should have been negative 29. Never mind. They both work if you plug them in. Anyway. Okay, you guys are going to try this one. You ready? Okay. This should have been negative 29/7, which comes out to be positive 29/7. same should this be when you do that to value. Okay? So here's your you try, and then we'll be done with these whiteboards for it. Okay, here we go. 3x, Danielle, please stop talking across the room. 3x plus 2, absolute value, okay, equals x minus 6, absolute value, okay? So give that one a shot and see if you can come up with the correct answer. Not too. You can do it. Practice on your homework, but you either said 3x plus 2, right? 3x plus 2 equal to x minus 6. That's one equation, right? And the other equation is 3x plus 2 equals negative x minus 6.
Yeah.
So this one's pretty easy to solve. You bring the x over there, you get 2x. You bring the 2 over there, you get negative 4. So in this case, whoops, negative 8, I'm sorry. Negative 8. So in this case, and then you divide by 2, you get x equals negative 4. In this case, in this case, you need to distribute through the negative sign, which is probably why some of you got it wrong. Negative x, what's negative negative 6? Plus 6, okay? Bring this x over here, that gives you 4x. Bring this 2 over here, that gives you 4. Divide by 4, you get x equals 1. So there's one answer. There's the other answer, okay? I would plug them back in to make sure they made them both true, okay? And